Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Reading the Red this Thursday morning. It's really bright out there this morning, nice and light and not too cold, which means it's going to be a wonderful day. God is so good. Thursday, Matthew chapter 17, verse 26. Jesus having invited Peter to respond to a question regarding who should pay the poll tax, the tax as it related to the levy in the land. And Peter, in his response to Jesus in verse 26 says, when Peter said, from strangers, Jesus said to him, then the sons are exempt. So Jesus asked the question, from sons or from strangers? And Peter says, from strangers. And Jesus says, because the sons are exempt. And what is it to be a stranger? What is it to be a son? Well, in the context of the land belonging to the nation, what Peter is saying in his response is that it's the stranger that pays. But the sons are exempt, Jesus says. So that insight into what is a stranger, what is a son. And a stranger really is someone that doesn't belong. And when you don't belong, there is something about not quite being yours. But when you're a son, then you know the Father. And we can often feel like that in life, about that sense of belonging here and not belonging there. And many people who come along to our churches come into a place where there's an environment where they feel like they're strangers and they feel like that they don't belong. I heard a story even this week when a young man came to church and he decided he would come to church and he would sit at the back and he wouldn't talk to anyone, and he would, if he didn't like it, sneak out. Well, he came and he got hugged by the first person greeted him at the door, and then he got hugged by someone else, and before long he was part of that sense of belonging, part of that family. And you know, we need in our churches to make people feel like they're sons, feel like they belong. When we make them feel like they're strangers, then there's something wrong about that. Now, in this particular story, why should a son be exempt and why should a stranger pay? Well, primarily because they were in effect visiting the land. They were like those who had come into the land, and that they were in effect taking up room in the land. So it's almost like if you want to live here, then you have to pay. If you belong here, then you don't have to pay. And many facets of the kingdom of God are like that, where people are presented as strangers in the kingdom or sons in the kingdom. And we need to make sure that we are sons of the kingdom, that we belong in this place, that we belong to God. And someone sometimes say, are you a Christian? And they say, yeah. And I'll say, well, when you die, are you going to heaven? And they say, well, I hope so. Well, that tells me they don't know so. And when they don't know so, then there's an uncertainty about that. And that sense of uncertainty is like being a stranger. You're kind of here, but you don't feel like you belong. We need to know that we are sons and that we belong. Have a great Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow.